Defense, APS, always good to hear the different perspective experience. That's police, no wait, APS. What APS mean? APS. Well, if you have an apprenticeship, they will definitely want to put you into that job role. Like that will be their priority. They'll be like, oh shit, yeah, we got to put this builder, public servant. I don't know what a public servant is. What's that? Defense APS, public servant. I don't know what that is, to be honest. I'm sorry. I've actually never heard of that. What if the department has a city? Oh, okay. That's why we haven't heard of it. But that's interesting. That is interesting. I like learning new things. Is that just your normal admin, or is that like your pre-administration, like your pre-joining, pre-enlistment admin, or is that like at work? And what's the apprenticeship that you're doing? Bro, they need you. Bro, you would be like gold to them. Boilermakers, fitters and turners are just like, they will just throw money at you. My mate was a boilermaker, dumb as dog shit, didn't really have any other skills, but they just pinched him up. They were like, we need this guy. Put him in infantry, because that's where he wanted to go, but because he had that apprenticeship and that skill set, they were like, we need that. So the places that they'd put you is probably RAMI, which is, I think it's a Royal Australian Mechanical Engineers, I think. Don't quote me on that, I can't fucking remember. I'm still in the army. Technically I'm still in the army, but I'll never go back to work. It's a very hard thing to try and explain to people, because everyone asks the same question. Like, yes, I am in the army, but I don't go to work. That's why I got a beard. I am not allowed to do anything physical, so they pretty much just kick me. That is a completely fair reason. What did he join as? If you don't mind me asking. Artie. Bloody Sheldrakes. If you had your time over, would you do it all over again? I'd do it all over again with the knowledge that I have now, I think. Big issue that I had, like one of my main issues, was that I Because if you don't do the physical fitness stuff, if you if you take time off to sort of work on yourself, you're called a linger. If you're not putting in at work, you're not going field exercise or something, you're called a linger, which means malingerer, which means that you're basically just sitting around getting the like the accolades of being a soldier but not actually doing the job. That's pretty much what a malingerer is. And I would often get called that because I wanted to sort out my own physical health first. Like that was the first thing that I wanted to take care of, was my fitness. Full-blown Aussie. Welcome to the Twitch. So that was basically what happened. So they would call me a linger because I would go to the hospital or go to physio or something like that, and then that would get me out of like a field X or something. They'd call me a linger for that, and I was pretty fresh at the start there, obviously. And I was like, I don't want to be known as that. So I would lie about my injuries, saying that they were less than what they were. So then I could go out field and I could go out be with my mates, be with the boys, that sort of thing. And that's what caused my injuries to get worse, was because I was too new to be able to speak up and be like, no, listen, fuckwits, I want to take care of myself first before I pander to what you guys want, type of thing. And it just didn't go like that, because obviously I was fresh, and I kind of just, I lied about my injuries, saying they were less than what they were, and that's what made things worse, pretty much. So when things actually got worse, it was too late, because I'd already worked while I was injured. So if I could go back and do it again, I'd kick myself in the nuts and tell myself to shut up and stick with being a linger for a little while until I was fixed before joining back in. Hey, thanks for the sub, bro. I appreciate it. Full-blown Aussie. I'm guessing you probably came from TikTok or something. Sounds like a common experience. It is a very, very common experience, but they don't tell you about that. That's what I'm trying to do on TikTok. Like I'm trying to share my knowledge of what actually goes on, because they don't tell you about that. And like when I joined, there wasn't no TikTok. There was Vine, and Vine was just about being funny. It had nothing to do with information. So what I was trying to do was help people by telling them things that they should do prior to joining, or how to take care of your body and that sort of thing. The game is really good, Aussie. It's really, really fun. At the moment I'm just trying to find something, so it's a bit hard to it's hard to talk to Twitch and TikTok and everyone at the same time. No, I didn't get deployed, and that seems to be a very common point that everyone keeps bringing up in my comment sections. They bring up the fact that, oh, you didn't deploy, therefore your service is irrelevant, which kind of sucks. It kind of sucks to hear that from people that you're meant to be like brothers with, you know what I mean? But that was my career. I didn't deploy. I didn't really have a choice in the matter. All of my mates deployed without me, which was shit, but you can't dwell on these things or else that you'll go crazy. A few TOs in similar positions and a few blows with hindsight under their belt. Yeah, hindsight is something that we all need, obviously. I was the first person in my entire family ever to join the army. I had like a great grandfather who was in the army, which I didn't even find out until like 2 years ago or a year ago. Well, the thing was, like, I'm not going to. I don't want to dwell on it too much because it'll make me mad. But what happened was, the person that got me off, like taken off the trip, wasn't even my chain of command. He replaced my section commander for one Field X, and he had dealt with me for maybe 2 or 3 days. And in that 2 or 3 days, he somehow had the ability to comment on my entire career, my mates, all that sort of shit. He told everyone that I had no friends and that told me that I had no friends and things like that. So that got me taken off the trip because they were like, oh well, he has no friends, how can he be with these other people? That's why I got taken off the trip, and I'm a little bit salty about it. But I am trying not to focus on that. Dreams to join the army. Do you have any career prospect type things? Like, do you have anything that you're wanting to join as? Tyree. First Commando, Elite. 2 Commando is off its tits. 2 Commando and SAS are just different breeds, man. They're absolute gods in my eyes. Absolute. They're the people that I wish that I was. I don't think I'll ever be those people, but I wish I was those people. You're gonna be infantry. I'm biased. I'm very, very biased about it. I think infantry is... I'm biased. Okay, I was in infantry, so if you ask me what you should join, I'll probably say infantry. Even though it was a little bit of a shit experience for me, I would still say join infantry. If you only want to join the infantry for war, don't join, because at the moment there are no active wars, so you'd be joining for the wrong thing and you would be let down. That's the base. That's my base opinion on that. If you're joining the Australian Army for war, it's not going to happen. Unless you're joining 2Com or SAS, which honestly I couldn't tell you exactly what they're doing, because I don't know. Not that they can tell anyone anyway. I don't even know if SAS and 2Com are still doing trips or not. They might be. Ooh. I remember my aptitude test and I got a job, every job apart from one, so yeah, I'm being pre-qualified. Yeah, it's pretty, like it's, the aptitude test is, put this in a whole, it's not really hard. It's pretty common sense, hey. If it was an IQ test, maybe that'd be a bit different, but are you looking to join the army, are you? Full-blown Aussie? Nation, how you going, mate? Yeah, the army has its good and bad times. Like I'll never talk it up completely, and I'll never shit on it. Like the army has its good times and it has its bad times. You're gonna meet really, really good people. You're gonna meet some of the best people of your life, but you're also gonna meet the worst people of your life, and that's how it is. And it kind of sucks, but that's kind of how it works. Yeah, I'm not going too bad, nation. Just chilling, playing games, talking about army, because apparently that's what my life has become now. I'm sure I'm trying to protect my family and gain more skills in life and have more respect for myself. That is exactly the sort of mindset you should have going in. If you want to go there to better yourself, then fuck yeah, best job for you. Yeah, you just gotta have to put up the first 6 months, or that extends if you're going for like a different job. But basically, it's a really, really good job if you want some self-discipline. You sort of want to, I don't know. I joined as soon as I turned 18, so I didn't have a choice. I had to grow up pretty quick. I'll be sure to share your TikTok with a few kids I know who will be able to relate and empathize. No worries, you do that. There's no obligation at all. I don't. Like, I know I have a lot of things set up: TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, but at no point am I going to ask or demand money or anything like that. So I'm literally just giving my advice because I want to. It has nothing to do with financial value. So I'll be happy to help any way I can. Mr. Zambo, welcome. I found you off TikTok, and as of right now, I'm going through the process of enlisting. Well, that's awesome, dude. Just make sure you do your research on the job role that you want, because there are so many. What would be the percentages of the first 6 months, like mental strength and physical strength? School for math and English. You don't have to redo school, bro. You can do it with the army. They'll pay you to do school. So if you go in there, do your enlistment process, and say, I didn't finish grade 10, they'll be like, no worries, and they'll put you on the grade 10 course, which is a little bit army, not very army. It's like a pre-army course that you can do. So if you go in there and say, I didn't do year 10, but I'd like to do the pre-enlistment, or if you're Indigenous, then they push you to do that as well. So Indigenous people get a lot more benefits when they're joining the army as well. I haven't mentioned that in any of my things because I feel like it would get taken down for racism, even though it's the truth. Indigenous people in the Australian army are well off. They're so good off. Yeah. Depending where you go, if you go to North Force, you get to go walkabout, things like that. That's another whole topic that I can talk about. Yeah, mate, printed out the brochure, reading it up on it now. Well, if you have a rough idea of what you want to do in the army, then I can sort of help you guide from there if you want, but a brochure doesn't help. It didn't help me. Hey mate, saw you on TikTok, saw you were the old boy. You were a old boy from 3. Yeah, I wouldn't say I was an old boy from 3. The old boys from 3, they were some fucking hard dudes. Yeah, they were some good guys. So, I tried to avoid telling people where I was from originally, because, you know, I didn't need it getting back to my chain of command and stuff like that, because I'm still technically in the army. You're at 3 now. You're right. What are you? Where are you? What are you doing? What company? Sorry, I've got to focus on what would be the percentages of the first 6 months, like mental health and physical. So Kapuka is mainly mental. Decoy, I was in Bravo. I was in Bravo about a year ago. So the first 3 months, which is Kapuka, it's more mental. They're trying to break you down, get you to comply, so then they can build you up as a better soldier from there. Pretty much, that's the gist of what they're trying to do at Kapuka. And then, depending what IT you go to, depends on the difficulty. Obviously, like if you want to join infantry, that's probably the hardest physical course. But you can obviously go medic, you can go transport, you can go Ramey, you can go Rayoc, you can become an admin person, you can become a quartermaster. There's heaps of things you can do, and they all have different second places. The Kapuka is the same for everyone, and then the second place that you go, your IETs, that's where it differentiates between people. Fitter armourer. good job, hard job. You're very well sought after. Like if you're a fitter armourer, people will just be asking after you and wanting to, like, they will want you. They will always need you because the guns are always broken. Always broken because there's always something to be repaired, and fitter armour is just good to go. Met one or two of them. They are weird dudes, but I loved it. What I need to do is redo school for math and English. I'll have to pass the indigenous recruitment to work. Yeah, so I have a few mates that went through the indigenous recruiting program, and you know, you learn stuff about your culture as well. So you learn indigenous history and culture and stuff like that, because not every elder teaches that to their nephews and nieces and stuff anymore. So they give you some base level culture before you join the army. I think it's a win-win, to be honest. Like, you're getting paid to learn about your culture. Can't see a downside of that. I've never been on a deployment or operation or exercise or field X with 2RAR. I've been on one with them once before they turned to Amphib in like 2017, and 3RAR absolutely rolled them. It was just a war fighting thing. They were trying to attack our position and we flogged them. But that was one time that I ever met them and dealt with them. There's not many people that I like on 2RAR or 1RAR, but that's personal. 2RAR is amphibious, 3RAR is mechanized, and 1RAR is, I think it's just light infantry. Wait, motorized. I think 1RAR is motorized infantry because they have PMVs, 3RAR has APCs, so they're mechanized, and 2RAR has boats. I did competition shooting and gunsmithing on the side, so I thought it would be best suited to me. Bro, that would be so good. Like, having that pre-knowledge of smithery would be so good. Yeah, I got a couple of things. You can message me all you want, mate. I don't mind at all. How new are you to battalion? Like, are we talking under 6 months? Did I do any time in Pucker? I did 3 months in Pucker, doing a course, doing an armoured vehicle course, which I detested. I did not like it at all. And the only other time I went to Pucker was to do a shooting competition. That was in 2020, I believe. No worries, have fun at work. Good luck with it all. Let me know how you go. If you end up enlisting, you know where to come back to. 2 years, eat done, Rosie. What? Oh, I've nearly done your Rosso. Yeah, right. You would have met me then. You would have met me. Actually, no. No, you would have met me, maybe. My cage is still in the lines. I need to go and empty it. What are the thoughts on SARs and Commandos? Do you want to join? That was my original plan. I wanted to join 2Com. I loved the idea of them. They're just amazing people. Obviously, that's way out of the cards for me now. That'll never happen. But yeah, they are the top blokes. They're top blokes. If someone ever talks to you about SAR or 2Com, they are the pinnacle of where every soldier wants to be. Honestly, they are the pinnacle. Start of last year. I believe I was on COVID assist at the start of last year. But I was on COVID assist with the SIOS guys. So everyone went down to COVID, and then we went a few weeks later after we'd done a fair bit of our corporate course. Yeah, One Commando isn't, I don't think it's a thing anymore. It's still a thing, but it doesn't have postings, so 202 Com and SAS are the two special forces that you can join at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's right. Hello, Cash. Good night. I'm getting late for me. I will be up tomorrow, but no worries, mate. That is a hard question because I wouldn't know. I've never done that myself. If you join RAMI, and if you talk to your DFR, your Defence Force Recruiter, and ask them what the possibility is to do that, then they will give you a much better answer. Probably better off just asking them over the phone when you call them up, because they'll give you a yes or no. And if they say no, then I would get it first and then join with it, because then they'll want you more because you've done it. But if they can give it to you while you're in, just fucking do that. But I can't give you an answer on that, sorry. I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. Definitely, bro, definitely. Good luck to you, I hope it works out. What's the Army's rules on antidepressant medication? Are you allowed when wanting to join? So, I'll be real with you for a second. So one of the reasons that I got discharged, apart from my physical fitness, was because I had to bury a lot of my friends, which is obviously a bad thing to be doing. And they gave me antidepressants and stuff like that. And as soon as they give you an antidepressant, you're not allowed to touch a rifle. You're not allowed to teach people how to shoot. You're not allowed to instruct. You're not allowed to do a lot of things. You're not allowed to touch Defence Force equipment. So it was it was such a shit time for my life, honestly. Because what happened was I'm a rifleman. My job is to shoot. I shoot with a rifle because it's my job. I'm a rifleman. So I was given an ultimatum. I was told, you can stay in. You can stay in for as long as you want, but you'll never be able to touch a rifle again while you're on antidepressants. And then even after you're off them, then you're gonna have to wait a few months, right? And the alternative was discharge. So I was never going to be a rifleman that wasn't allowed to touch a rifle. That defeats the fucking purpose of being a rifleman. So I left. I asked for discharge. I was like, I'm not going to be a rifleman that's not allowed to touch a rifle. I kept pretty much begging them. Like I don't beg, but I begged. I was like, just let me do my thing. Let me play with rifles. Let me instruct, because that was like things that I really liked doing. Was instructing and shooting. Two of my favorite things. And I got told that I wasn't allowed to do either of them. So antidepressants are a bit iffy. I'll definitely talk to DFI about that before I give you my 2 cents on it. No worries, Bradley. Hope you have a good night. Good luck with it all. I know I say good luck with it all a lot, but I genuinely mean it. I hope everyone has the best luck with their employment. There you go, Connor. Thank you for your answer. Even if you have a history, they will make it very hard. Yeah, I knew they'd make it hard for you, I just didn't know the fucking rules on joining with them, because I didn't have them when I joined. And God, was it a pain in the fucking ass. God. It's made me mad. Now that I'm thinking about it. Look what you've done. Stream disconnects. Currently looking... Oh, sorry, guys on Twitch. I haven't looked at your messages for a while. Message you on about a couple of things. Yeah, no, you can message me all you want, mate. If you message me on Instagram, it's probably going to be easier. Nice, mate. Best of luck. Yes, best of luck, Blown Aussie. I hope that goes well for you. 2 years in Western Rosso. Currently booking in a blood test. Then got my assessment session. I nearly got there start of last year. My grandpa was 1Com. My granddad basically reserves 2Com. There you go. Yeah, I knew 1Com was something. I just knew that it wasn't ARA. He was an instructor at 1Com in 1966. He would have been a fucking legend, honestly. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I have a lot of respect for pretty much everyone in Special Forces. When I met you'll need a lot of referrals from your past batches to be okay. Is infantry entry or officer entry? Wait, what? Is infantry entry or officer entry? It's... What do you mean? I'm confused by that, Gary. What do you mean by that? See, this is the sort of thing that I wanted to do, is if I don't know something, I like people commenting and giving their 2 cents on it if they actually know what they're talking about. But what I've had is just people just come into the conversation and be like, you don't fucking know, shut up. Like, of course I don't fucking know, let me know, you assholes. Sorry, that's... Yeah, that's right, mate. I joined when I hadn't been on them for years and delayed by 6 months. Shit ass. Sorry you had to go through that when you were through. Full-blown Aussie, if you want to send those to me on Instagram, I'll have a look at them. I'm always interested in that sort of stuff. Connor Anderson, thank you for the follow. Hunter Line. You know what? You guys better back me up here. I better win this. Hello. Going for a walk on the beach. There you go. Right, those two match. I know the boys have got me for this one. Make sure you double tap that screen. If you double tap that screen, it'll send it up. How's your night going, random person? What is going on? Yeah, I don't think I could put up with that for 4 minutes, honestly. Thank you for the donut. That would have won us that, but I don't think I couldn't put up with shit shit mics and kids talking. What's your thoughts on SAS Australia TV show? really have an opinion on it, to be honest. Like, I've never been on SAS, so I can't say whether or not it's accurate or not. I do think that they obviously, it's over dramatized. It definitely is. The over dramatization is just for views, pretty much. They are a lot less strict, from what I've heard from my mates that were that trialled out for 2Com and SATs and things like that. So what you saw on TV was not it. It was not it at all. It was much worse. It was much, much worse than that. Like, from what I've heard stories of, of guys being blindfolded and bound and put into a room with a crying baby, going over the speakers for hours until they almost snapped. That was like torture training. That was a course that you could sign up for while you're in infantry. Usually recon and snipers got to do that sort of stuff. I never did that sort of thing. Sounds interesting. I don't know how I'd go with it, but it sounded interesting. Thank God that's over. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just came up with a notification someone asking if they wanted duo. Yeah, just don't post links, bro. Send it to me on Instagram, or else you'll get banned. That's just an auto thing that it does. It doesn't let people post links into my Twitch, just because there's a lot of scammers going around and stuff. Warrior training. I have to look into it. If you want to learn more about SAS, recommend reading Survivor by Mark Wales. Survivor. Very good book. Very good movie. Wait. That's Lone Survivor. You meant Lone Survivor as well? Is that a thing? Is that what you're talking about, or is that a different one? Engineering in the army. Engineering definitely has its place. It's definitely a well-needed core. Like, you won't find me shitting on any core. Like, I don't dislike any core, really. Every core has its place. Every core has its job role. You're not going to find me belittling someone else because they do something different than what I did. Like, that is a very toxic trait that is around the army a lot. Like, I'll take the piss out of them face to face, and I'll take the piss out of them. But that's what we do. We take the piss out of each other. It builds rapport immediately. That's my experience of the army. You take the piss out of someone, and suddenly, except MPs, they can go fuck themselves. You're not wrong. Don't think I've met a nice MP. I've met one nice MP. Field MPs, they're nice. I like them. I don't like the on-base MPs though, because they get you for going 42 in a 40 zone and then get you in trouble. Rats. RAF. The RAF is good in its own, good at its own things, just like the Army and the Navy are good at their own things. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Air Force are not very fit or good at field. They're very good at mental side of things, but they're not very good at the physical side. Like, I've met, obviously there's going to be exceptions to that. I've met some absolute fit mofos. But yeah, what happens a lot in the Army, the Defence Force, the Navy, the Air, like everything, is people will generalise a lot. So the amount of people that I've had tell me that I'm not in the Army because I don't walk and talk like one, I don't look like one. Like, it's not, you don't just suddenly become a sort of person if you've been in the Army. You know, like, the people that they're talking about are people that are just hell-bent on military as a career. That's their life, that's their mantra. They don't do anything else. That is the only thing that they want to do, and that's the only thing they focus on. So those sort of people and I don't get along very well. They're just a little bit too fucking full-on for me. So each individual corps, each individual service are all completely different. You can't generalize them. You can't put them all into one bag. Like, I like some RAFIs, I hate some RAFIs. You know, it's a specific type thing. Hope that's answering your questions. Was in Gallipoli, what do you reckon about that? The fact, like, I've given my opinion on Gallipoli. It was the soldiers that went there, absolute heroes. They are, you know, the cream of the crop. They are the good. They are what bolstered Australia's history in the storybooks. You know, they did so much good things, so many good things. But because when we went to Gallipoli, the English or the United Kingdom, I think it was the Brits were in charge of us. The officers were the ones that told us what to do. So the Brits... Sorry, I'm focusing on two things, kind of hard. So the British officers were telling the Australians how to fight when they've never really seen the Australians fight or knew what their strengths or their weaknesses were and things like that. So when the Brits got there, they treated them like shit. They didn't treat them like they were their own soldiers, because they weren't. They treated them like they weren't as good as the Brits, because they were very up themselves and thought that they were better. Australia and the New Zealand forces were obviously very, very new, and they were mainly volunteers, but there was some conscriptions, not much. So they didn't really trust the Australian forces with much, which kind of sucked, because if they did, that battle definitely could have gone different if they sort of trusted them a little bit more to do their own thing. But they tried to micromanage them too much, which led to way too many of them dying. Watch the TV series Gallipoli. I think it's on Netflix still. So good. So good. It portrays everything so well. Recommend it. Love it. We'll watch it again. Merry Christmas, Finn. Merry Christmas. Thoughts on the recent Afghan deployment? There hasn't been a recent Afghan deployment. The only real deployment to Afghan recently was the withdrawal. That was, I believe, one RAR went in support of the US to try and help them withdraw safely. I've given my opinion on that as well. It was a bit of a failure as well. Things definitely could have been done a little bit better, I believe. That's just an opinion. That I wasn't there, I don't know. But yeah, some pre-planning and some prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. The 5 Ps. And that did not happen. There was no prior preparation. Civilians died when they shouldn't have died. It's a shit time. How long were you in for? So I'm still technically in at the moment. I believe it is 5 years and 10 months at the moment. So I say 6 years, because by the time I get out, it'll be almost exactly on my 6th year, which is kind of cool. How long were you in for? Being an ADF when you're older. Well, that's awesome, bro. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll happily try and help you with those. Some people on the app are a bit fucking rude and will try and tell you that I don't know what I'm talking about. You can take that however you want to. I'm a corporal in the Army Cadets. I was a corporal in the Air Force Cadets. 7 or 8 years ago. Maybe here, and yep, plenty of good people as well as bad in each service, and yeah, all alike. Yeah, like I have people in the Navy I like, I have people in the Navy I don't like. It is, a corps isn't a specific type of person. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They think infantry, so they think big, burly, muscular, angry, scary looking dudes. But I've met some real skinny, fit motherfuckers that should be scary. Like, they should be real scary. But they aren't scary. They're lovely people. They're absolute amazing people to talk to, spend time with, things like that. Like, you can't judge a book by its cover. Definitely. Like, I've got a mate who's a sniper, and he is, I don't know how tall he is, but he's 5 foot nothing. He's 70 kilos soaking wet, but he is one of the best snipers that they've ever had. I can see someone sending me a message, but I can't really look at it while I'm streaming on Twitch and TikTok. Name a game for an edit. Valheim. 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 Very good game. What was the hardest part about basic training? If you want the truth, the hardest part about basic training was putting up with idiots that would always mess up, which would get us all in trouble. So the amount of times that you're going to hear the term one in, all in is ridiculous. So like, fuck me. So there were some people that were just stupid, and we kept getting in trouble because of them. And you can't have a go at them because you can't speak out of line, kind of thing. But yeah, that was probably the hardest part, is there's gonna be people that are just dumb. They're dumb, they're gonna get you in trouble, you can't do anything about it, except for maybe bully them in your spare time, but obviously that's a no-no as well. That was the hardest part about basic training, was putting up with kids. It's interesting because there's SASR who are like computer geeks and you never think they're SASR. Bloody oath. By the way, dude that just joined on Twitch, 6 years. 5 years, 10 months, 6 years. That's where it's at. Geeks in the universe. So SASR is the special S. Now I can't fucking remember what it's called. But the strongest and fittest sort of people that just want to do shooting go to 2Com. 2Com is more of your missions and your shooting and that sort of thing, and SASR is intel and drones and that sort of stuff. There's no issue with the man at all. Like, I've joined with 30-year-olds. They struggle a little bit with the running because they've already got sore joints and shit like that. But yeah, they didn't struggle too much. They still passed. Depending what job role you want to go in, you probably won't get infantry or anything like that because it's a little bit harder. Cadets helps. Cadets does help, but we don't talk about it. We don't talk about cadets. No worries, bro. I'll have a look at my Instagram after I stream. Just can't look at it right now. Borneo. I just saw Borneo, I think. My old man was 3-hour melee in Borneo and SASR. Your old man is a fucking legend. I don't know him. Never met him. He's a fucking legend. And you should be proud to do this. Absolutely proud. Absolute crazy people paved the way for what we are today. Rob. So much respect for Scar. Lester. Who are you? I really need to know who you are. 17, I think. What was the question? What's the minimum age to join the army? Yeah, so you can apply when you're 16, but I believe it's 17 and 6 months, something like that. So I applied when I was in grade 11. I definitely couldn't join at that time, but that was when I applied. Put my name in, and I said I wanted to do it. Yeah. 16, 6 months is when you start the process. Yeah, there. That's what it was. 16, 6 months. I thought it was 17, 6 months, but very similar. Went to school together, bro. A few years ago, but then we got going forward. Can't get past the name, bro. Can't get past that name. I'll probably know you if you message me. You left defense in March. Or how are you feeling about the transition? Do you like the transition, or are you kind of missing a little bit? Honestly. Yeah, when I was in high school, I did a lot of cadet stuff, and I inadvertently made a lot of people join the Defence Force by just not being a douchebag. Like, I got up and I just beat. I was myself, and people just like didn't mind that. What's your thoughts on direct recruitment to commandos specifically? That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. But I didn't do that because I got talked out of it. And I'm so glad that I got talked out of it, because after hearing about the commandos and all that sort of shit, I know for a fact that I would have broken doing that. Joining commandos from civilians, direct entry, I wouldn't recommend it unless you've done maybe 2 or 3 years of training before you go. Because even infantry, even some of the strongest, fittest infantrymen that I've ever met failed 2-com selection because they just weren't fit enough. They failed maybe push-ups, they failed maybe pack marching. Getting a bit bumpy, honestly. Yeah, can you turn the game sound down in settings? It's cooking. The cooking mutes you. That's fair enough. Audio, master volume. Hope that's better. Best lesson I've learned as a section commander is you have no idea what someone is going through in their head. You have no idea what your diggers are going through. You have no idea where they're at. You don't know what their life experiences are. You don't know who they are beyond the army. So you can't judge someone's actions without learning what their actions are based on. So I had a guy I was instructing on a course. This might be a little bit TMI for some people, but I'll just tell it anyway. So I was instructing on a course. So I went into signals in infantry. So I was an infantry SIG for a little bit. And I was in infantry SIGs for about a week before I went on JLC and became a Lance Corporal. And I was putting people through the course as a Lance Corporal, which is perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with that. And there was a guy there, bubbly, happy, real nice dude. Could have a conversation with him. He was real smart. He wasn't like top of the class or anything, but he was just real smart. And what he ended up doing was taking his life last year, and it makes it real hard because you have no, like, when I was instructing him, I had no idea what he was going through. I had no idea that he was at that point because he was such a happy person. He ended up taking his life while I was down in Victoria doing COVID stuff. So that is my biggest lesson, is you have no idea what people are going through. So treat everyone with respect, treat everyone with, you know, the love that you would expect to be treated from a random person. Like, you may be a section commander and you may be in an instructing role and your job might be to yell at people, but you don't need to be vindictive and you don't need to hate on them for no reason. You can be harsh or being respectful, and that is one of the biggest lessons I learned. And there's a lot of corporals that haven't learned that fucking lesson yet, and they need to be bloody taught real quick, because the suicide rate in the defence force is ridiculously high. So yeah, my core was infantry. My core was infantry. Do you have to know a lot to be a corporal? You kind of just have to be half decent at your job. You don't even have to be that good. You should be good. I've met a lot of people that shouldn't have had rank. Just like anything, there's going to be shit dudes in jobs that they shouldn't be in, and then there's going to be good guys in jobs that they should be in. But yeah, so do you know? So you don't need to know a lot to be a lance corporal. So a lance corporal is a very throwaway rank. Wasn't overly important to me. Like, I loved getting it. It was an amazing experience to get it, but it really means nothing. You're just a glorified digger that's been in for a while. But getting promoted from a lance corporal to a corporal, that's where it's kind of, they choose you based on your ability to perform or their need for you, type of thing. But yeah, I try to avoid topics of suicide because that it kind of fucks with my mind. If everyone stays here, I'm gonna go make a drink and I'll be back. But I can't make it on the video or else I'll get removed. I will be back. Joined 16, 9 months, had my 18th in battalion, then off to rifle company, Butterworth. Rob, you're a legend, and I don't know how you would do that. I'm sure they'd probably let you drink, though. Maybe. Alrighty. Don't know what to be a corporal, but to answer that, is there any tips to better handling sleep deprivation? No, there isn't. It's going to suck. I started seeing castles in the trees and shit. I started seeing figures that weren't there. I almost shot things that weren't there. It's very difficult, especially about the 60-something mark. What? Mother trucker? What brigade? I think it's one brigade. I think 3 hours in one brigade. I think. I don't remember. It's up near 2 cav, basically. If that helps you. Do you ever outrank someone that was in longer than you, and had you been deployed? I've outranked a lot of people that have been in way longer than me. I never let it get to my head, unlike a lot of people. I have mates that have been in for 10 years and I've been in 3 or 4 and I had a higher rank than them. But I'm not the sort of person that takes power to their head. It's not the sort of person that I am. I didn't mind the rank. As you can tell, I kind of enjoy instructing people on things, but the power never went to my head, so it was never an issue. Like, no one ever cracked the shits at me telling them what to do, because I only told people what to do when it needed to be done. I've never really abused my power, which I'm still pretty proud of, because there are a lot of people that do that. And no, I've never been deployed. I've been on operations, like Operation Town to a Flood Assist. They're not really operations, it's called that. I've been on COVID Assist, stupid things like that aren't really deployments, but they call them for some reason. Well, I saw some comments about lib pages. What page is trying to post you? Well, I've already been posted on a few. And then I messaged them and I said, what are you doing? Because it was Tinder lids, or lids on Tinder, and they posted my TikTok. And that was the TikTok about me proving that I was in the army. Like, I was showing my patches and I was trying to show my promotion certificates and things like that. And then he said, if you're posting yourself on TikTok, then you are a lid. A bunch of other dumb shit. Like, I gave him like this big spiel type of thing. I was like, I'm out here genuinely trying to help people that want to join the army, so I don't understand why you're shitting on me when we're meant to be working together to... Like, those meme pages are created to stop people being fuckwits in the name of the army. So when I'm trying to help people join the army and then get called out on a meme page, I've lost a lot of respect for the admins and the runners of those pages, to be honest. I used to love them. I used to enjoy seeing the stuff. I got fucked so I control deleted from the system. Yeah, right, that's a bit weird. Mayo banana sandwich. Nice. Out of the unit for a few months. I saw some comments about some pages where they're trying to post about you. Yeah, I've been out of the unit for about 10 months. Do you know Kaz Within the Trenches on YouTube? Is that a page or is that a video? Because I don't know what that is. Experience is rank, really. Yes and no. I have a lot of mates that have a lot more experience than I do, and they fought getting ranked. They didn't want it. They were very happy just being happy little diggers. One of my mates actually started throwing hands at sergeants when they put him onto a promotion course because what happens is if you've been in trouble, then you're not allowed to go on a promotion course or get promoted for 6 months. So he punched someone and it got cut for 6 months, so he wasn't allowed to get promoted. And then after that 6 months, they were like, we kind of don't want to put you on rank. You're going to punch people all the time. Make discharge chance. We've got an SRC. SRC. What is an SRC? Soldier Recovery Compensation. And I'm also in Townsville, by the way. Experiences rank really. Hey brother, love your content. I appreciate you. A lot of people seem to not like my content, but fuck them. Thoughts on the Strategic Digger Instagram page. I stopped following a lot of the lid and meme pages after I saw the content that they were putting up. They were putting me up there as well, which was very annoying. And SRC, yeah, I've been at Soldier Recovery Centre. Did that. I did the return to work program, not the discharge one. And that was a long time ago. I stopped following a lot of the Instagram, Facebook pages. It didn't interest me. I'd seen mates that were proud of their service getting called out for being lids. Like, it's just not the sort of culture that I really appreciate. Like, I've had guys that wanted to stay in the army and were fucking real keen on it, put up some pictures of their service and like, I'm so keen to stay in the army, any opinions on it? And then someone screenshot it, sent it to this meme page, and then he started getting death threats from ex-diggers. You know, the people that are meant to have our back, the people that are meant to be our mates, they were the ones that sent death threats to him. So he discharged and didn't want a bar of the army anymore. So the worst thing about the army is other dudes. That's pretty much it. That's my opinion on it. My uncle was very traumatised when he came back from Iraq and Afghanistan. Undoubtedly he would be. I can't tell the stories that I've heard from my friends who came back from the 27 trip because I would get removed for that. But they saw some disgusting things. They saw some horrible things that humans shouldn't see other humans do to each other, do to children. They saw disgusting things. Have you transitioned from the army? No, I'm in the process of transitioning currently. I'm in the process. I'm streaming during my service. Big target. Fucking oath you're a big target if you're streaming during your service. I was doing it for a little bit and I got picked on so much. I was trying to do something that I enjoyed, you know, because I was going through a little bit of a depressive state, right? So, again, TMI. So 2 of my mates had killed themselves within 6 months, which is a horrible thing to happen to anyone. It wasn't nice, and I wasn't doing too well. So I started streaming because I like playing games, I like talking, I like the communications. I don't like the feeling of being alone, because that's when you start thinking, and thinking is what is dangerous. So I started streaming, and then my mates got a hold of it. My mates, people that are meant to be my friends, they got a hold of me streaming and sent it into these fucking meme pages. So I'm sitting there just trying to be a little bit happy, like enjoy my time, you know. I just wanted to fucking, you know, have this is my advice. Like, I don't do drugs. A lot of guys in the army do drugs sneakily on the side. They don't tell anyone, but they do. And my advice wasn't that. My advice was playing games, and that was pretty much it. And when my mates were the ones that were bullying me for wanting to stream, that, I lost so much respect for a lot of my friends. I don't call them friends these days. It's disgusting. Sorry. I'll get emotional about that. I'll get very angry. Caswell is his name. Yeah, he was a sergeant. Sergeant Caswell. I don't remember a Sergeant Caswell. He's a YouTuber. Oh, you're talking about that page. Hey, I was the one that asked me about the PFA. Physical fitness assessment, yes. Professor Bacon, please don't be sending messages like that, bro. Come on. Chill out, there's people talking. Can you ask whose name is on my memorial bracelet? Ken. So this was a guy that I served with in 3RA. We're pretty good mates. We weren't the bestest of friends, you know. We went drinking a lot together. Served in the same company, platoon, section for a little while. He went overseas to Afghanistan, as we were talking about before. Saw some things that he didn't want to remember, so he took his own life. Not too long after, he went to the healthcare centre and asked for help. He said, I'm struggling with some stuff that I saw, not doing too well. It's made me depressed, it's made me sad, it's made me feel this way. And instead of helping him, they kicked him out. The army was his life. The army was his career. He loved his job. He loved his mates. He loved seeing them all. He loved being around them all the time. He loved the culture. And he was just a really, really good soldier. And their response to him asking for help so he could continue doing his job was to kick him out. So a month or two after he was kicked out of the army for his mental health, he offed himself in his garage with his car, motorbike. I gotta go take care. What do you think about this? Alleged war crimes in Afghanistan addressed through the media. The way that the media has portrayed the Afghanistan war crimes is disgusting. They should all be appalled with how they've handled the situation. They commented on things that they had no right to comment on. They had no idea what these people were doing. They had no idea what these people were seeing, the people that they were dealing with. All they saw was little snippets of something. They never got the full story because the full story was confidential and couldn't be, shared. So all of these soldiers that have just been thrown under the bus by their rank system, being like, oh well, the evidence will come out. Fuck them, if they've done things wrong, they will feel the full force of the defense force, type of thing. And then they've pretty much all been cleared of their war crimes because they were alleged. They were just alleged war crimes from rumors from other countries. So one of them was someone killed a prisoner of war because they heard a gunshot over the radio. They were in a war zone and they heard a gunshot over the radio, so they assumed someone killed a prisoner. Like, what a fucking joke. If you hear a gunshot on a farm, you don't just suddenly assume that a farmer has murdered his fucking children, like... Sorry. Get angry about that. Not many Aussies vets on here besides you and I who do their lives. Well, this is my first veteran live, I guess. I came on here to play my games. That's all I came on here for. And then people just kept coming, people kept asking me questions, and I've just been answering them. Like, I don't like boycotting information. If people want to know something, I'll let them know. Like, the worst thing you can do is keep information from someone else. Like, if someone is genuinely interested in something, let them know the information. Why hold it back? It's silly. It's a silly ideology, and I do not like it. It's very immature and toxic. I'm glad you're not like that. Hey man, love your videos. Thank you, I love your support. Bacon, if you keep sending messages like that, I'm just gonna kick you out of it. Hey, what made you want to join up? My teacher from grade 3 and 4, and a little bit of 5, was a major in the Chocos, and he was one of the best blokes that I've ever met in my life, and he put my brother and my sister through primary school. So I immediately had a lot of respect for this man. The way that he carried himself in school, like the classroom was a little bit disciplined. It was actually really cool. And yeah, he basically, because like I wasn't a very well-off kid, so I didn't always have food to take to school. I didn't always have shoes, things like that. And if I ever went into class without food, he would give me food. So he immediately was like a god in my eyes, and because of that, I wanted to be pretty much exactly like him. He was a choco and he was a major, so first of all, I didn't want to be a choco and I didn't want to be an officer, but the sort of person he was is who I wanted to be, and that's what made me want to join. Just straight from there, him being the sort of person he is. Also, the Lint Cafe siege happened right around the time that I was a bit iffy, and that made me very angry, and that was another reason I wanted to join. Otherwise, Bradley, have a good one. Been looking out for your next live stream. I'll try and do that tomorrow. Do you know Jamie Clark from Old Faithful 3 hour? Unfortunately, passed away from Jamie Clark. When did he pass away? It's on. Are you talking about the dude that died a long time ago? Or is this recently? Better not be fucking recently. I have a book, Rogue Forces, it's called. I'm partway through reading it. A lot of the stories are from former SAS medics. What do you think of his stories and what he witnessed? Well, I haven't read that book, so I can't give my opinion on it. But SAS medics and commando medics would have seen some shit. They would have seen some fucking shit. Yeah, bro, they would have seen so much stuff. They would have had to amputate things. They would have had to clog holes up in parts of things that shouldn't be holy. I'm trying to be a little bit PC. I don't want to get into the gory side of it. But medics, God, some medics have seen some shit. They deserve all the respect that they deserve. But as I said, with every corps, I've met good people, I've met shit people. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. The Jamie Clark fella, he died a long time ago in Solomon Islands, because I was just, you had me reeling for a second trying to rethink someone that I knew. DVA can be hard to deal with. You fucking... Oh! Yes, they are very hard to deal with. They've caused me more mental strain than any other fucking part of the room. So, what content is next time? I'll reply to that message in just a second. Give me a minute. What game am I playing? I'm playing Valheim, which is a Viking-style survival game. I obviously like Viking stuff. All my tattoos are Viking style. So I like Vikings. I like the history. I'm Norwegian a little bit. So it's something that I really, really like. And when you're in the infantry, we usually associate with either Vikings or Spartans are the two things that we like to associate ourselves with, even though we may not be those things. What do you believe is the most direct pathway into infantry, and what do you recommend? There is no direct pathway into infantry apart from just signing up as an infantry member. Honestly, yeah, there's no real direct way in. It's the same way that everyone goes in. Infantry, as I've said a few times, I'm very biased. I love my corps. I loved my service, I loved everything about it until the last 2 years or so when things kind of started going downhill for me personally. But I can't talk poorly on the corps. It's a good corps. What game you playing? Mine was a long time ago, it was recent, but yep, that's the one. What do you believe is the most direct pathway into the infantry? What do you recommend for? I think you just asked that question. Yeah, so there isn't really a direct entry. Every job every job is similar in its entry requirements type of thing. Yeah, just direct entry. The fastest way to get there is to call DFR, not DVR, DFR, Defence Force Recruiting. Call them, tell them what you want to do. Sorry, this is a very strong drink. Manager at my work was 2OR. He let me borrow his Alice pack so I could practice pack marching. Then he is one of the good ones. He's the sort of one that wants you to succeed. That's what you want. Keep him close. He'd just be a wealth of knowledge. Yeah, that's what you want. You want people that will actually help you, not just fake help. Well, from your message here on Twitch, Divine SPS. Well, what I don't understand is if these people have such a high level of confidentiality, how are they telling these stories without getting in trouble? That's what I'm confused about. Good on them for speaking out if actual things did happen. SASR is different. I believe you're talking about SASR there, but the recent war crimes that came out were about two commando. Sorry, two separate entities. Like, they are both army. They're both within the army, within the Air Force type thing. They aren't the same. So what happens with SASR doesn't happen with 2Com. They're separate. They work together, but they're separate. So that book has no relevance to the current stuff that's happening. From what I know, the inquiry was about the 2Com. If there was an inquiry about SASR, please let me know, because I'm unaware. Combat engineers, I'm assuming you're saying, not combat engines. But combat engineers are really good at their job. They're one of the closest things that infantry... can't even really say that. This man's being threatened and followed by 496 after 2Com. Alright. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. I'll look into it a little bit. I like looking into things myself. Combat engineers, they're really good at their job. They're really good at blowing up obstacles, and they're really good at building obstacles and bridges and things like that. They're really good at their job. I've never met a shit combat engineer yet. They've all been good blokes. They've all been good at their job, and I've liked pretty much all of them so far. Wish I stuck to joining. I got through all the tests and basically was accepted, but chickened out. Happens. It's not for everyone. Don't stress about it. Don't hate yourself over it. Just, it fucking happens. What is your opinion on combat engineers? I already said that, but I wish I stuck to joining. Specialist roles such as combat medic or dog handler. Yeah, dog handlers are pretty cool. They're a little bit weird because they live and breed dog, pretty much. So like they're amazing with dogs, absolutely killers with dogs. I love them. But as people, they're all weird. But as I said, you can't judge a book by its cover. Some of them might be different, but that's just the ones that I met. Second, feeding me piggies. Thanks for the answers. No worries. Is there many in their late 20s, early 30s joining infantry? I went through with a few of them. They were a bit stubborn because they were being told what to do by people that were younger than them, which isn't the right mentality you should be joining the army with. You shouldn't be going in there being like, I know more than you, shut up, type of thing, because you don't. You have no fucking idea. You don't know who knows what. You don't know what people have done. Like, I've met some of the calmest, nicest people that have hugged people too tight, if you know what I'm saying. They hugged them a bit too tight, and they went to sleep. So yes, if you're going to join the army in your late 20s or your early 30s, leave your ego at the door. It's not needed. Your ego, just leave it out there. Go in there with an open mind. Be yelled at. Put up with it. Yeah. That's pretty much how I'm going to do it. Gotta go now. Great tips. Thanks for that. Great content. Keep it strong, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming. It's full of interesting stories. I recommend reading it and building your own opinion. Well, now that I've got it saved in my Twitch, I'll jump in it and have a look and see what it's about. But yeah, I like to get my own facts before I give an opinion on something. Usually. Okay, sorry, one more. Don't mean to be bothersome. It's not bothersome at all. Feel free to ask whatever you want, mate. How's family to work ratio in the army? The first 6 months, it's shithouse, but that you're told that from the start. The first 6 months, shithouse completely, because you are training. You're on a training establishment. You're not allowed to leave. That's where you live. So you live in Kapuka for 3 months, and you get to leave twice, maybe 3 times. That might have changed since I went through, but we were only allowed to leave 3 times. The rest was all on base. And yeah, so first 3 months, Kapuka, not allowed to leave. Worked. You get to talk to your family maybe once a week, and that's only for 20 minutes. So you've got to make calls for 20 minutes real fast. And then after that, your IATs is a lot more relaxed. You get a lot more downtime. You have weekends off, things like that. And that's the sort of time that you can talk to your family and get to know things that you've missed out on for the last 3 months. And then once you get out of that to battalion or your unit, depending, that's when your work-life-rest ratio just bumps straight up, because that's when you can sort of get your own house, your family can come visit you, you can give your family tours of the base, things like that. Like, you just got to wait the 6 months of not talking to many people. But then after that, it's fine. At the most, I was probably doing 6:30 to 5 p.m., 6:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. That was my work day. And then after that, I'd have off. And then weekends, I'd usually have off. But as I said in some of my other videos, you're on call 24/7, technically. So if you go home, get undressed, have a beer, and then they call you in, because you've had a beer, you technically aren't allowed to go back to work. So that's what a lot of people do. The second that they're done, that's why the alcohol thing within the army is so big, because the second you start drinking after you finish work, they're not allowed to call you in. By law, they're not allowed to. You're not allowed to go to work under the influence. So that's the reason why a lot of guys would just start drinking every afternoon. I think, was that the question? But yeah, work-life ratio is good. For me, personally, I'm in a completely different thing. Like, I haven't been to work for 10 months, so mine's different. I'm discharging, so I have pretty much freedom. I just go to base for appointments, and that's it, just for appointments. Did you have any family members in the army at all as well? I joined the army with no one in my family being in the army or Air Force. I had one uncle in the Navy, and he's in reserves now. I later found out my great-great-grandfather was in the army, but I didn't know that when I joined. And he's long since passed, so didn't give me any information, didn't give me any help at all. A lot of youngies join the grunts, but they respect people a lot more mature. A lot of youngies join the grunts, but they respect people a lot more mature. I don't understand what you're saying. A lot of the younger fellas do join the grunts, because they've got a bit of an ego about us. I definitely had a bit of an ego about me when I joined. I was fit like while I was in school, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick the hardest one because I have something to prove, apparently. That was me personally, that's not everyone. But I felt like I had something to prove because I wanted to prove that I could do it. I got told that I couldn't do it a lot by my family members, which kind of sucks. But yeah. Any tips for growing my patch collection from the lads at our unit? So, this is going to link with the other dude below you. I'm not from 3CSR. I just have the patch. So what I did was you get a lot of patches. You can buy some. You can buy joke patches, like ones about smoking and drinking and stuff like that, but it's up to your unit CO whether or not you're allowed to actually wear them. Give me 1 second, I'm just trying to show some stuff. So yeah, it's up to your unit discretion whether or not you can wear these joke patches. A lot of people aren't allowed to wear them. But what I did was I would slowly build them up. People that were discharging, I'd ask for their patches. A lot of them wanted to keep their patches, obviously, which is perfectly fine as well. But I wanted to build it myself. I wanted to build it from the ground up. I didn't want to go buy patches to do it. So that's how I got my patches. I just started trading with dudes. When I was working in the Marines and the Americans, I'd trade them uniforms for their uniforms, things like that. So I've got a full set of Marine uniforms in my cupboard. The only problem with uniforms is you can't wear them or it counts as stolen valor, usually. But yeah, so start off by buying some patches, just your basic, like, say if you buy an Australian patch, you don't buy one of them, buy 5 of them. And then what you can do is if you meet someone from Taiwan, you trade them 2 patches. You trade them 2 patches for 2 of their patches. And then you get to keep one and you can trade one. So you can trade one of their Taiwan patches for someone from 3CSR. So you can trade them your Taiwan patch for their 3CSR patch because they want a Taiwan patch. Just as an example. So it's very similar. If you are trading, try and do double trades. So what I did was I traded an Australian rat pack for an entire uniform top, like a shirt. And then on that shirt was 6 patches. So I pulled all the patches off and I traded those patches on for more shit. Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It turns into like a bit of a game who can get the most patches during Field X. It's pretty fun. Hey mate, you're at 1CSR. What kind of job are you doing at 3CSR? As I said before, I traded patches to get my 3CSR patch with a guy that I was on JLC with. So, Lance Corporal training. What is the most weight you've carried on a packing lunch? Compared to some, it's not heavy, but the most I've carried is 65 kilos. Didn't go down very well. It was very, very fucking sore. It sucked. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And that was a 3-week Field X, but the weight slowly went down the more ammo we used and the more stuff we spread apart amongst us. And this was because I was a lid, like I was my first Field X, so they dumped a lot of the shit on me. Because I was coming out of Singo better trained than most of them, like physically fitness anyway. When you come out of Singo, you're really, really fit, and then you lose it pretty fast when you start drinking piss every day. What's the most weight you've carried? Yep, so if you're in your 20s and 30s, go for it. I agree. Then you join the army with dyslexia. I've met people with dyslexia and ADHD and things like that, but they were undiagnosed, so I don't know if it's diagnosed. Then probably not, but it depends on the severity because it really is up to DFRs, medics to clear you or not. Do I think ADF should have stayed SLR? I don't believe it should have stayed SLR, but I believe it should have stayed 303. It should have stayed that higher caliber round. This is the most talking I've ever done in my fucking life. I failed my medical to join the Air Force. I'm going to try and join the Army and hopefully work with the 5th AV like my family friend did and work on Chinooks. Not a bad idea. Whenever I think of 5th Ave, I just think of that cocaine bust that happened. That's my first instinctual thought about 5 Ave. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I've met some, as I said, with every corps. I've met good guys and I've met shit guys from every corps, pretty much. 5 Ave is no different. I've met some good people there and I've met some uptight pieces of shit that need to just have a chill pill. Do you think the ADF should stay with SLR? As I said, So what we're moving to now, so the new weapon that Australia is moving to is an AR platform, which is it's a 6.5, which is, I think it's a 338. Don't quote me on that, but it's a bigger caliber. It's like a halfway between a 308 and a 556. So it's halfway between them. Bought our new round. Plus it's an AR platform, so it's a lot more versatile, light, and easy to clean. I don't know when that's being brought in. I've been hearing rumours about it for the last couple of years. But yeah, we are upgrading from the Steyr to a 6.5mm AR platform. Do you get to keep your personal things when you join the army? What sort of personal things are we talking? You have to be a little bit more specific. Just a little bit more. Have you ever witnessed stolen valor in person? It's hard to call it stolen valor. It was a fella who was mentally deficient. He had a mental illness. I don't know how to say it nicely. But he believed that he was in the army. He was given a uniform by one of his friends. He was given a uniform by one of his family members, and as soon as he put it on, he believed that he was in the army. He mentally thought that he was in the army, but he wasn't. So you can consider that stolen valor if you want, but it's like seeing... Okay, I don't even know how to say this. This world is very hard to talk straight without twisting words. So he believed that he was in the army when he wasn't, and he started asking for discounts, and he started asking for special treatment and things like that, which people gave to him because he was handicapped. But yeah, that's the only stolen valor that I've seen. Mad Cow. Mad Cow. Yeah, that's where I got my scar, in Mad Cow. What caliber of the round? Smaller round. Okay, so the current round of the rifle that we use now is a 223. So it's a 5.56 round. It's similar to 223, but it's a 5.56 round. I'd go grab them and show you, but I can't. And the 308 is what we use for the bigger guns, which is so 5.56 is like that, and the 308 is like that, basically. And then the new round we're using is about here, so it's halfway between here, a little bit bigger than a 223, a little bit smaller than a 308. So that's the new round we're going to use. F88 is 5.56. Yes, it is. You put the I reckon the ADF should have a 22 pistol. 22 pistols are amazing. They are so fast, they're so accurate, they're so easy to control. I think we should have maybe a semi-fully automatic pistol, semi or fully automatic pistol. That's 22. I like 22s myself. I grew up on 22s, so that's why I like them. Is there any institutional racism in the army? There is almost no racism in the army at all. Give me a sec, I'll get back to that question. What's your funniest thing you have seen or heard in the army? God damn, that's a long list. I'll have to get back to you. That's a long one. DFR medics were unprofessional on their judging of my medical fitness. I even got surgeons, doctors, psychologists, and nurses to write a report to prove I'm medically fit and healthy to defense, but medics gave me a real good kick in the balls and told me to try again in 12 months. That is a very common thing to happen. They tried to do that to me. It didn't go down well. So back to institutionalized racism. I don't know what that word is. Institutionalized racism. Do you mean like the job itself is racist? Or the job itself makes it hard for black people? Is that what you're saying? Or any other race? I'll let you retype the message in so I can read it. Funniest thing I've seen or heard in the army. So the army has a very big culture of honesty and bets. So honesty and bets go hand in hand in the army. So if you make a bet with someone, you better not be fucking lying about that bet. So I've seen guys make bets over the smallest things, like like Marvel. Like they've made bets over Marvel, DC, superheroes, things like that. And they've been like, just say, okay, Magneto doesn't have a kid. And they'll be like, bullshit, he does. And then they'll be like, no, fuck no, he doesn't. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. And then one of them will be like, eyebrows it. So then what eyebrows it means is, if one of you is wrong, the person that's wrong is getting their eyebrows shaved off. That's what's going to happen. If you eyebrow something, you are agreeing to get your eyebrows shaved off if you are wrong. And that happens so much, especially outfield. It was a big thing outfield. So if you make a bet like that, be prepared to get your head shaved or your eyebrows shaved off. That was always the thing. That's probably my funniest story because it happened a lot. It was really funny. Do you get to keep your phone when you join? The first 3 months, no. You give your phone in, like full on. You give your phone in, you don't touch it, and then you get given it every couple days, maybe a week, and that's a kapuka. So you do get your phone eventually for about 20-30 minutes at a time, which isn't too bad. Gives you time to quickly call everyone to say hello, how you going, tell them how things are going, and then when you go to your next place after that, your IETs. For me, in infantry, you hand your phone in at the start of the day and you get it back at the end of the day, and then you have it all night and then again in the morning. And that's more of a trust system. If you don't do it, then you get called out, you get in trouble. So they give you the opportunity to hand it in first, and if you get caught with it later, you're in trouble. And then after that, you have your phone all the time because you're on call 24/7. You have to have your phone on you, so you always have it after that. Hey man, thanks for the enjoyable live and answering the questions. Stay strong, see you later. No worries, mate. Thank you for coming. DFR is just weird, lads. Draw. It is kind of luck of the draw. Sometimes you'll get a good doc, sometimes you won't. I need to have a break from talking for like 3 seconds. On parade. What did you say mad cow before? Why did you say that? Just curious. Why did you say mad cow before? Yeah, if I was just doing plays on parade. Fuck you, get on parade yourself. I know there's a banter between the boys, but I mean, is there racism is done by senior officers? Not at all, really. I can't say the things that we say because the internet is a very weak place and it can be taken incorrectly. But there is definitely what would be considered racism. Not really. Like, guys will get called out for... They're not getting called out for the colour of their skin, or they're not getting called out for shit like that. But it can then be related to race if they do something wrong. But it's a joke. And they know it's a joke. And during training, it's very big. And, no, actually, when you march out of training, that's when it gets really big. And it's more your mates taking the piss out of you. They're literally... I can't say literally. In my experiences, I've copped abuse from blackfellas just as much as I've given it to blackfellas. And we are best friends. There is none of this, like, don't fucking say that to me, don't talk to me like that type of thing. It was, if they said something to me about my race, I'd say something about their race, we'd laugh it off, and that was it. That was us done. That was the conversation. There was no argument, there was no fight. We were just taking the piss. And having an environment like that is good, because there's nothing on the table that isn't talked about. So if you, I'll use one of my mates for example. His nickname is Tiny. His nickname has been Tiny for years. He got that nickname once because he was having a cold shower, if you know what I'm saying. He got called Tiny, and that was his nickname for 10 years. It still is his nickname, and he's embraced it, and that's his nickname. And it's not people picking on him and segregating him and that sort of thing. That just became his name. It's just kind of how the army works. You pick on someone for something, and then that becomes my last name is a Mac name, and when I joined there was already a Mac, so I couldn't be called a Mac. Beautiful. I love giving shit to white Aussies. It's a good thing. Banter between the boys. Dish it out. You can't do it out in the street though. That's the problem. Is we'll get so comfortable saying shit to each other on base, around the boys, things like that. And the second we go out to town or something, we'll speak to each other normally, how we normally speak to each other, and we'll get kicked out of a pub or a club or something because they think we're about to fight. Like, it's just little shit like that. So it makes it hard to, I wouldn't say be yourself, but it makes it hard to have that genuine friendship. Like, I can't say the things that I say to my Indigenous friends. I can't say that anymore. Like, I can't say that to anyone but him. He's literally the only person I can ever say those things to. And that's because we've been through the same things, we've done the same stuff, and we've had the same experiences. If I were to try that shit with anyone else, I'd probably get my ass kicked. But, yeah, it is hard to explain in an age where you can't say anything out of line or else you get cancelled. This whole cancel culture thing is it's ruining a lot of things, in my opinion. But yeah, no, I don't think there's institutional racism in the army. I don't believe it. I have seen racism, but it goes both ways. Like, there's no ganging up of a single race. All races get the same shit equally. You need to trust the dude next to you. It has nothing to do with race, to be honest. I'll get you. Beautiful. I love giving shit to white Aussies. I love getting shit as long as I'm allowed to dish it without being fucking called out for it, you know what I mean? If the M23 and the M4... Well, I thought you were talking about how I got this, because that's where I got it. It was in Macau. I'm right on point. I'm glad that I'm right on point, Smithy. Also, get on Picket. Friend about the 5th Ab drug bust, but he left in 2007, so he probably doesn't know much. I think it was about 2018 is when it happened, to be honest. I think that drug bust from 5 Av happened about 2018. Got a degree, enlist or commission as an officer, any point in going full-time no combat at that moment. So you've got a degree, should you enlist or go commission? So when I've said that I've met good and bad people in every corps, I've met more bad people in the officers than I've ever met in any other thing. So I've met some amazing officers, but the majority of them are shit. The majority of them should not be in power. They shouldn't have the status that they have. They shouldn't have the respect that they demand. That sort of thing. I believe that if you're going to go into the officers, you need to know exactly who you are and what you're going to be about before you go there. You need to not be a shit person. A lot of people that join the officers because they want to tell people what to do. They want to join the officers so they can force people to do things that they want without understanding the repercussions. So they join the ADFA or the ADFIS or the fucking DFR, the ADFA and the other academy. They join them just because they want to, because they want to shit on other people because they've been shat on during their life, things like that. So they're the worst sort of people to be in the officer role because they don't take their digger with a D. Don't fucking cancel me. They're diggers. They don't take their diggers' opinions or thoughts into account, which can lead to really bad things. If you have an officer that is willing to learn from people that actually have the experience, then you've got an amazing officer. I've only ever had one officer that was like that, and he got to battalion and he told us to teach him. He said, I know what I'm about to, I know exactly what I need to do, but I want you to teach me your way. Because the infantry way is better than the officer way. So like a patrol or a ambush or something, on paper might look one way, but on the ground it looks a different way. So if you've got to be an officer, be a good officer. Learn from senior NCOs. Don't get ahead of yourself. Yes. The problem with that though is an NCO is going to be a child to you sometimes. So I was an NCO at 22, which is young as shit. Like I was way too young to be an NCO. But no one listened to me because I was too young. But I had heaps of experience and I had heaps of stuff that I wanted to share and that I could share and would have been pertinent and valuable for them to know. But because of my age, my height, I'm not an overly tall person, I'm pretty short. My age, my height, I'm pretty useless at talking. So you're watching my videos, I stutter a little bit and I'll say okay and so and like a lot. Like I have a lot of filler words. I'm not great at talking. So when I start to do that sort of shit when I'm talking to an officer, they instantly dismiss me because they think that I'm unconfident. I've been told that I've been unconfident multiple times. But I am confident, I just stutter and mumble and shit. So if you're going to be an officer, look past people's flaws to see the things that they can offer you. Sorry, I kind of took a massive big detour on that one. You like paperwork, you got a bloody... Do I have a Discord server? I do have a Discord server, actually. It's open right now. I don't know how to post it on here, though. Give me a second. I'll try and comment it in here. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Okay, still there. You're still there. You're still there. That's good. I don't know how to message into here. No officer leads from the front anymore. Just saying. There you go. I just put up my Discord channel. It's a gaming Discord channel though, so I try to separate my stuff. I idolize officers who lead from the front, lead by example. Sound cliche, but I guess it's true. It is cliche, but it's a cliche that I'd be happy to follow. If I had an officer that was a decent person, led from the... No, you can't lead from the front. Like that, you can say that, but you don't do that anymore. It's not like that anymore. An officer stays in a bloody tent that's been built by guys before you even get there. I've been yelled at for building a tent wrong because I didn't make a bedroom on the side of it for one of the officers. what normally happens on the weekend in the army? It depends. For me personally, infantry don't work on the weekend. We don't work on the weekend. Most corps don't work on the weekend. The weekend is yours. The weekend you have free. You can do whatever you want. You can spend time with family. You can go for travel within. We usually have like a little travel bubble. Usually, just don't go out of a certain amount of hours away from base because you are needed at base within that certain time sometimes. And most guys just go out and get in the piss on the weekends. Friday night, go Saturday night, and then day drink Sunday, and then go to work on Monday. The alcohol intake in the Australian Army is ridiculously high, and it's hard to get out of that habit that I have found recently. Learn from senior NCOs, don't get ahead of yourself. I wish they did that, but they don't. Hammer on alcohol and parties. No, that doesn't sound right though. I don't think I've ever been to a party or drunk alcohol ever in my life. That's why I'm considering enlisting. Big ideas, but unconfident. But mumble myself. Resonates a lot, mate. Well, I'm a very confident person, but I get outspoken by idiots that are loud. Pretty much. Like people that shouldn't be speaking outspeak me, and I used to sort of let it happen. But now I've lost that. It's a good time for me to leave the Defence Force because once you can no longer hold your tongue, it gets a bit hard for you. I don't know what MEAO is. Please enlighten me. I'll be real with you, I'm planting bloody plants in this game. Granted, it was a Royal Corps of Transport in the 1960s. I think that's RATC, Royal Australian Transport Corps. Changed it around a little bit. So, majority of the corps within the Australian Army are RA. So, RAME is Royal Australian Engineers and Mechanics, I think. Don't know if that's true or not. You got RAOC, Royal Australian Ordnance Corps. I think RAM is Royal Australian Medic Corps. Royal Australian Infantry Corps. RAR is Royal Australian Regiment. So your granddad might have been in something different, but alright, sorry, I've been not looking at Twitch for a second. Give me a minute. I was asked, do you need a degree to become an officer? I don't believe you need a degree, but it definitely makes it easier. If you have a degree, it's easier for them to give you job roles. At ADFA, correct me if I'm wrong, person. If you join ADFA, I believe you get a degree. Is that right? Is that not right? I don't know. Don't know if that's right or not. Have ever done Middle Eastern area of operation? I've done the training for Middle Eastern stuff. Like I've learned a little bit of Arabic, and I got ready to start going overseas. It's a touchy subject for me because I never actually went. I just did the training for months and months and months, and then got taken off it. Middle Eastern area. I did the learning. I did the courses. I did the male-female differences. I did the cultural stuff. I did all that sort of thing. Learned the tiniest bit of Arabic to say hello and goodbye, and things like that. And he did a little bit of time with the military police. Yuck. So, I'll say it right now. If a military person ever takes the piss out of another corps, it's all in good fun. There's no real hatred or anything like that. Only time there might be actual hatred is if you're an Agi, because nobody likes Agis apparently. Ever dealt with reservist infantry? Know that they get shit reserves code on it. Reservists are something else. Reservists are something else. Okay, that's what I'm going to say on that. They are businessmen, they're accountants, they're teachers, they're receptionists. You know, they're all those things playing army, which is fully fine. I don't dislike them for it. But when they try and do army stuff, it's just not good. It's just not very good. I've been on an exercise where we had finished our exercise that we've been doing for 3 weeks, and they're like, hey, the reservists are coming out and they need an enemy party. We need you guys just to stick around for another day or two so you can annoy them, pretty much. Like, just so you can shoot at them and be targets for them to shoot at, for like military simulation type thing. And we were standing, so what we normally do in like a field X is we go into prone and we hide in the bushes and we cover ourselves in grass and we defend a little area and things like that. We were standing in the open, next to trees. We were standing there, just like this, just standing there. And they got within 10 meters of us before they realized that we were there. Our rifles have a effective range of 400 meters. Sorry, they have further, but they have a 10 meters wasn't good enough. They should have spotted us a lot further out than that, but we were told not to be dicks to them. I honestly have no idea about cyber analysis roles. I think that's a SIG thing. I'd assume that's probably a signals thing. So that's RA SIGs, Royal Australian Signals, Royal Australian School of Signals, I think. Sorry, at this point these drinks are getting stronger and stronger. One sword to fight the enemy, one to stab mates in the back and peas. Oh, ain't that the fucking truth? Yeah, I'll never forgive them after they got me in trouble for doing 42 in a 40 zone. What's my opinion on the Navy? I have friends in the Navy. Alright, we'll see how this game goes here. So I have friends in the Navy, and I don't have any distaste for it or anything like that. Okay, bye. Yeah, I don't really have a bad opinion of the Navy. I don't agree with some of their social constructs. It's kind of hard to explain. But I spoke to a female in the Navy, a sea woman, and she told me about your Navy husband and your Navy wife. So even if you're in a relationship you can have a Navy husband and a Navy wife, and that's the person that you cheat with while you're out on the sea. Now, that definitely doesn't probably go for everyone. I can't say that goes for every single person. But I've definitely heard about it. I've heard that they have a Navy... So, this was females that I heard about. Males did it as well, but the female was the one I heard about. So, what she did was she had a Navy husband, which was a guy that she would sleep with when they were out in the ocean. And she also had an Army boyfriend, who she would sleep with when they were on the shore, which is a bit gross. It's a bit gross in my opinion, even for a guy. Shoddy knees. All infantry guys have shoddy knees and backs. Wow, okay, just call me out, why don't you? Fucking hell. Given anything to avoid. Oh, there are so many things you can do to avoid injuries like that. So many. Like, I'm not sure if you were here before when I spoke about it, but the reason that I didn't look after myself earlier was mainly for the fact that I didn't want to be seen to be weak or a linger. Things like that. I didn't want to be seen to be as weak. That's basically it. I really didn't want to be seen as being weak. So what I would do is I would mask my pain, tell them that I was fine, things like that, just so I could keep going without getting... Because if you go outfield while you're not meant to, you get in trouble. So yeah, the things that we can do to fix ourselves is, you get weekly massages, just take care of our bodies a little bit better, stretching before and after every exercise, which is what we do during training. Yoga is amazing for that sort of stuff. I personally do not like medication. I've been put on so many medications that I do not fucking trust them anymore. But that's another whole thing. If I didn't join the army, would I have considered joining the police? Yes, I wanted to join the police first. That was the first thing I wanted to do, but I thought I'd join the army as a gap year to give it a go, see how it was, and I ended up sticking around for 6 years. So if that doesn't tell you how much I enjoyed it, then nothing. It's from the weight of the moral morale they carry out. Yes. Infantry carry the most morale outfield because we can find the happiness in the simplest of things. You need it after 3 weeks. My thoughts on the Marine Corps. God. Oh. Hoorah. Semper Fi. Do or die. I have met some amazing Marines. I actually... God, I keep talking about suicide and death. I lost a mate from the Marines the other day, unfortunately. He died in a car crash. And that really hit me pretty hard, actually. We weren't working specifically with them. My mate and I just kind of made friends with them at the mess when we were sitting there having a meal. And we just called him over, we're like, hey mate, don't sit by yourself, come over and sit with us. And he changed my life. Not even a joke, not even an exaggeration. He changed my life. They are probably the most on par with the Australian infantry out of everything, or we are probably on par with them. Very, very similar. Very, very similar in the way that we carry ourselves, the way that we act. So they're a lot more egotistical, but that's because America hypes up their military ridiculously, which is perfectly fine, but it doesn't fly well in Australia. So they'd go out to town and be like, "You have to talk to me. I'm from the fucking Marine Corps." And in Townsville, they tried that shit, and they were like, "We don't give a fuck, Isha." Like that, did not care about their job role, and yeah, after the first weekend that they were in Townsville, they were like, "Do Australians like hate the military?" And we were like, "Yep, pretty much. Pretty much, they don't like us. Too many spouses have been fudged by guys." Running at trees, for example. What? I've never ran at a tree in my life. Most knee and back injuries in infantry are just young boys being boys and just part of the job. No, it's not. It is us thinking that we own the world. We're not going to break. We're manly men. Remember, you can't break a manly man. But my injuries weren't just a sudden thing. My injuries were from constant and repetitive movements and heavy weight carrying and things like that. So my injuries happened because I didn't stretch and take care of myself a little bit better. They would have happened anyway, but I could have reduced the time that it happened. The injuries that I have are like arthritis of the spine. It's not genetic. No one in my family has arthritis in the spine. It's based solely on the fact that we do repetitive motions, we carry stupidly heavy packs and things like that. And that's basically it. I forgot to talk to Twitch, and I feel really rude, I'm sorry. I live in Australia. I live in Townsville, actually, and I've seen something the other day about the hippie lettuce in the news. I'm gonna... hippie lettuce. I don't know about the hippie lettuce, to be honest. You will have to be a little bit more specific about that. I'm in Townsville too. I live in the fucking ghetto with 5 Ave. So what's up with 5 Ave and illicit substances? Well, they got caught trafficking cocaine from overseas on their planes. So they've got to fill that space with something. So I understand Devil's Lettuce would probably fit that pretty well. Oh, you silly cunts. I'm not going to comment on drugs in the army though. That can get me in trouble. I won't comment on that. Not my personal stuff, but history that I know of. Next question. Thoughts on Armoured Cav? Armoured Cav, Mitch. I know a Mitch in 2 Cav. I believe he's in 2 Cav. I know a Mitchell that's in 2 Cav, and he collects a lot of patches. Is that you? Is that you, motherfucker? So personally, I don't like the way that 2 Cav operates. I don't like their hierarchy system. So what they do is the new guy cooks for the entire car, or tank, or vehicle, or whatever. So the new guy is the one that cooks for everyone. Like, I'd understand it if you got the new guy to go do extra work or something, but like you're forcing this dude to do the cooking for a bunch of dudes he doesn't know. So if he cooks shit, then they just wail on him and not punch on him or anything like that, but they give him shit for not cooking. But that's not his fucking job. I believe that if you're going to do the sort of hazing thing that they do, you should make it job specific. So if you join Cav, you should, as a new dude, you should be the one that does the oil changes and the tightening of nuts and the shitty jobs like cleaning mud and stuff, but not cooking. You didn't join to be a fucking cook. Because like when I went on my armoured course, because I had to do it as an infantry member, they tried to make me, the corporal tried to make the infantry guys cook for him. And the first day we were like, yeah mate, no worries, we got you. And then the next day we were like, so what are you cooking for us? We cooked for you last night, what are you cooking for us? And then he was the rudest fucking person I've ever met. And he was just like, the fuck I'm gonna cook for you for? Like, what the fuck would I do to that? Like, in infantry, we work together, and you give what you get, and you get what you give. So if you want a dude to respect you, you respect him first. That's how it works. You want someone to cook for you, you cook for them first. So outfield, it's usually how it would work. Like, we'd alternate in morning routine and stuff. So some dude would like make coffee for his mate who was sitting at the gun while you shaved and got ready and stuff. And then the next morning, you would alternate. So he would make a coffee for you while he shaved. And then when he stopped over, there was a nice fresh coffee for you at 6 a.m. in the morning. That's how I think it should work. 2Cav doesn't do it like that, and they tried to make us do it their way, and we did not like it. Are you enlisted? I definitely think he is enlisted, by the way. What do I think of the United Space Force? I'm not going to fucking talk about that. I want to join the infantry. Are there any tips? I was a runner before I joined the army. Like, I was really good at running, and I lost fitness when I joined the army. So don't worry too much about your cardiovascular endurance and things like that. Kapuka is more about your mental stuff, and they're basically building up civvies from nothing. So if you go in there fit, if you're fit as a civilian, then you're already not better, but you're already ahead of those other guys. So you're not going to get anything out of the training, the physical training anyway. So be generally fit. If you want to go infantry, you're going to have to be a little bit fitter because the prerequisites are pretty hard. Oh, excuse me. What was the question? Just don't go in there with an ego. If you're fit, you're joining the infantry. You know, infantry is one of the hardest and one of the best corps to join. And when it's the hardest one to pass, it's got the hardest everything pretty much. So what you want to do is just leave your fucking ego at the door. You know it's hard. You don't need to make everyone else know that it's hard. You don't need to act tougher than everyone else. You don't need to be some big macho man about everything. If you're joining the infantry, just shut up. Just sit back, shut up, do your job, be good at your job, and show how good you are through your actions. That's how I have lived my career, and people don't like it. People prefer me to be loud and obnoxious and want to be center of attention and shit, which isn't me, so I'm not going to do it. They want me to yell and scream as an NCO, but I was like, nope, that is not me, and I will not be fucking doing that. My favourite video game of all time is definitely Skyrim. Definitely Skyrim. I'm not giving my thoughts on the Space Force. It's a fucking joke. Who are they gonna fight? Who are they wanting? Who do they think they're gonna fucking? So stupid. There he is. Here he is. Who's the KO band for? You've already asked that twice. Hold up. I'm getting down. I've got to start. I'm doing every question. I'm trying not to miss anything. Lots of hazing in the infantry. Fucking oath, there's lots of hazing in the infantry. Especially infantry. It's amazing. It builds character, that's for sure. Did you hear about the forklift crashing at Sisby? Crashing at Sisby. No. What's my favourite Star Wars character? Darth Maul. He's always been my favourite, even though he's a bad guy. What is the game I'm playing? I am playing Valheim. It's a infantry and it's a Viking survival open world sandbox game. My KIA badge, I'll get into that in just a second. Was Kapuka a breeze physically? Was Kapuka a breeze physically for you and most of the infantry? Yeah, Yeah, it was. We used it more of as a place to show off than to learn anything, which was kind of toxic, but it worked. 90% of people would say, I believe, to join infantry before going SFC. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Find out if you can do infantry before you go to special forces. That's the reason I didn't go direct entry, and I'm so glad that I did, because I know for a fact I wouldn't have made it as a special forces person. It was way too hard. Way too hard. I tried to do PT with my mates that were going for 2Com. They didn't even make it, and I couldn't keep up. There's no way. No fucking way at all. Can you sing the Island Boys song? Fuck no. Take your fucking pineapple head looking motherfucker there. Hey mate, can I join the ADF infantry, especially RAR, with slight colour blindness and controlled asthma? Asthma is a bit of a no straight away. I'll ask you this question. Is it documented on your file? That's what I've been told. I don't know which thing you're replying to. Beautiful, I don't know which thing you're replying to either. Oh, Darth Maul, yes, it's very beautiful, yes. My KI band. I spoke about it before. It was from my friend who deployed to Afghanistan in 2017, I believe. He was at the battalion before I got there. He'd been in the battalion for a few months longer than me. We were very, 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 very close. We weren't best of mates. We weren't like hanging out every fucking day kind of best of mates. We were hanging out probably after work, probably once a week type of friends. He went over to Afghanistan, saw some stuff that he shouldn't have seen. Let's just say that. Came back, tried to seek help for his mental health due to what he saw overseas, and instead of helping him, they kicked him out. Because the job was his life, he ended up taking his own life in his house with his girlfriend still in the bed. So I wear the band to remind myself that no matter how bad it gets, it can never always get that bad. And I also got a tattoo for him there. Let's continue with a semicolon. Alright, so just to fix up something you asked in your question, if you want to join infantry, especially RAR, that's another thing. Infantry is RAR. So you join as an infantry soldier, and then you become part of the Royal Australian Regiment after you've marched out of infantry training. So you were kind of right, but when you said especially RAR, that is where you're going to go if you march out of infantry training anyway. So, yeah. What about colour blindness? Got slight colour blindness issues. Yeah, you can have it. I think there's like certain colours that you have to be able to see. I think your red and your green has to be good, I think. Don't quote me on that. Most of the time I grow out of my asthma. Yeah, just don't have it written down and you'll be fine. Thought on ADHD. I've got a mate who's got ADHD. He's one of the best soldiers I've ever met in my life. ADHD is no barrier as long as it's not documented. Documenting things is what fucks a lot of people over. Anxiety. I have anxiety now due to some things. It makes it harder. It does. I'm not gonna lie. It makes things harder. It makes just life in general a little bit harder. But it's not a barrier that should exclude you from defence. You should always... I was taught anxiety, pretty much. So you always need to be at high alert, you always need to be ready, you need to be hyper vigilant, things like that. And that's what gave me my anxiety, is like I can't... Like my house here has security cameras all around it, has a 6-foot fence around the entire property, I have 2 German Shepherd dogs, and still sometimes I get little panic attacks for no reason, thinking that someone's trying to break in. And that's just because of training. That's mine. If you know any grunts you serve with and that went SF, what personality traits separated them? None. There was no individual personality trait that made them any different. Like, I've met absolute larrikins that would take the piss out of you the second they got. I've met, uptight fuckwits that shouldn't have been given that job but were. Country boys that, just shot roos through the eyes at 200 meters when they were 13, type of thing. Like, it really depends. There's no specific type of qualities. They were always top blokes, usually. I've only ever met a few fuckwits, and they were fuckwits well before they decided to go SF. You get the sort of people that are fit and know they're fit and don't brag about it, and then you get people that are just like, God, you've got me doing some weights, mate. Okay, don't judge me for what I'm about to do. Someone sent coins in for me to do this. I think I owe you 20. Ugh. Mr. Zambo. If I didn't do these, I'd probably forget to do them, to be honest. There's your 20, mate. I didn't know that was a dumbbell gift. That's kind of funny. I think someone else redeemed some stuff up here. Stretch, do some weights, and hydrate. I've been hydrating the entire time. Oh, for fuck's sake. Alright, give me a second. I've got another one. Not another one, just for a second. Just chill out. Thanks for the weights, mate. I appreciate it. Got to go. Have a good week, man. I'll try and have a good week. Like, fuck, I didn't go across the brigade. I'm happy now that I can sleep on that. Brigade? Green and red is okay with me. Still a bit hard, but not so hard. I'm pretty. Well, the colorblind test is like your base level colorblind test where you gotta see colors, you see numbers in colors. So just figure that out. Just look up that basic test and then practice it, I guess. Any tips for joining commandos? SES? What the process? So the process. Alright, so I've been drinking a bit and just doing that little bit of workout just kind of pumped the alcohol through my body. You done did messed up there, buddy. Oh. Yeah, I'm physically prepared at the moment, but just wondering what the process requires. I don't think you're physically prepared. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you? Just asking. You know any lads that went direct entry commandos? None that passed, no. I knew a lot of dudes that went direct entry commandos, didn't make it, and then went to battalion and then got made fun of for not making it, which is pretty sad, but yeah, they got made fun of for not making it. poison resistance. 10 honey. 40 honey. 20 thistles. 20 pollen. We found a few other numbers, but we still got a lot of correctness and they join. Are you talking about stats and commandos, or? Give me 1 second. Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at something. I think it's a little bit expensive. It's accurate. First step, you should be practicing heaps of pack punching and navigation exercises in map and compass. Yeah, you should definitely be doing a lot of that shit. I can't really. But alright, my screen is going to freeze for just a second. But just give me a second, I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Did you try out for SAS Commandos? No, I definitely wouldn't have made it. I tried to work out with my mates that were doing it to give myself a bit of an idea of the level of fitness that they were going into it as, and they decimated me completely. Watch interviews on YouTube. Yeah, that's good. Oh no, just asking why the ADF was direct entry to 2C. No, it's not rare. They give you the option at DFR if you're young and fit. I think it's a silly option because you don't know what you get into at the start. You might as well just wait a little bit, just a little bit, and then go there after you've done a few years of infantry training. Starting by the ADF. How's Drake Entry Studio? I'm 15, been training for 4 years and currently able to do a lot in my head. Right. Yeah, they probably won't take you. They're very big on experience, like life experience. So I don't want to get your hopes down or whatever, but they might just say no based on your lack of experience. But it doesn't mean stop training. Definitely something you can keep doing, definitely something you can always grow on. There's no point in not training because you don't think you're going to make it. The whole point of training is so you can prove that you can make it. Inspiration. For some reason, apparently you got to do 3+ years of Navy clearance diet. I don't know what that's for. I'm going to do 80 push-ups in 3 minutes, 60 push-ups. So you want to be able to do 60 to 70 push-ups in a minute. There is no time limit on the setups, they're timed, and you do 100 of them. Don't worry about the minutes. And the run is ridiculous. I think it's like 8:30 to 9 minute 2.4 kilometer runs. Depends what you have recorded on your medical file. To be honest, if you have heaps of shit recorded on your medical file about your mental health, or if you've been diagnosed with something, or you've been admitted to a psychiatric hospital, all of those things play pretty big parts in it. If any of those things have happened, then it's pretty hard for you to pretty hard for you to actually join.
Hello.
Hello, random person. Why don't you list 18 and then after CTO? Yeah, no, 18 isn't a bad age. It's when I enlisted, but I would have preferred to maybe have a year of, not fun, but a year of freedom before I joined the army. It looks so much like Sean Cody. I don't know who Sean Cody is. I heard you guys who completed the 20 clicker in 44 minutes. 20 clicker in 44 minutes is fucking insane. That's running the whole thing. Like, are you saying with pack on? Because without pack, that's kind of... I just don't think that's right. .40 clicker in 45 minutes. 20 clicker in 45 minutes. That's... No, I don't think that. We'll look at some of the documentaries. True ace. Oh, with an 8 player vest, that's not too bad. That's actually pretty good. It's 12 AM. I need to go to be up at 6. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you, mate. I'll see you around. If I fail a few colour numbers, test things, but I succeed in quite a bit, will I still pass? Well, I can't tell you that answer because I'm not a medical person that actually does the testing. I don't actually know what the pass rate, fail rate is, or what is and isn't a pass, so I can't tell you. But yeah, I believe it's like an 89 to 95% pass. You need to pass all those colours. Keep hustling, man. Keep hustling. I think you should do infantry before you go to special forces. But if you think you're physically fit enough to go straight to special forces, man, fucking ask to do it. Ask to do it. What battalion were you in? I'm hoping I get to do 2. I was in 3, which is in Townsville. Anyway, 1, 2, and 3 are all in Townsville on the same base. When you're running, it's not the heavy load that gets you, it's the rifle and carry runs. Yeah, it's whatever's shaking and bouncing around and throwing your whole rhythm out of whack. That's what fucks me over, honestly. It's your go on Nest, that's a negatory on that one. Hopefully we'll be able to join the army within 4 years. Do whatever you want, brother. Thoughts on Sisby? Sisby! No, probably won't get that. Sisby. I've met some of the biggest wannabe infantry dudes from Sisby. They were so up themselves and like confident that they would beat us at a run or a shoot or something like that, and then when they get shown otherwise, they crack the shit so fucking hard, man. They just like full shit the bed, have a little tizzy fit, and they're like, no. Like, don't ask to verse an infantry soldier at the thing that they're good at, which is running and shooting. Stupid. I wouldn't, but that's me. That's my body. I know how my body works. How different is SS and military? I don't know the difference, to be honest. I know 2Com is very, very, very physical. Like SAS is almost just as physical, but you've also got to do the mental side of it as well. So 2Com is if you want to go like if you want to be a shooter, you go 2Com. If you want to be anything else, you go SAS. I couldn't tell you what the difference between SAS and commando training is. I just know that they're very, very similar but different. Apparently commandos is 6 rated hardest, I slept on top. The Australian Special Forces is ridiculous. Damn you to hell, mother. I just want to sit here and just chill out and making me do weights and shit. You happy? Police after maybe. SRG. Stereotype is hype. Stereotype is Tudo, grunts on steroids, SASR, more independent in small groups. Yeah, that is true. Tudo is literally grunts on steroids. Literally and hypothetically. Kind of like that reference point, it's pretty cool. Our SF is so hard because they are so good. Our special forces outdo a lot of other special forces around the world. And I am proud of the fact that that happens. You definitely won't be able to do both, just saying. So the way that they work usually is they have a very, very set and very, very specific training program for each one. And what you do is you train for one for 6 to 12 months because you want to do it, right? You train 6 to 12 months on one specific one because you're going to have to train very specific things. For 2Com, you got to pack march a lot. You got to do lots of push-ups. You got to do lots of running. And for SASR, you do completely different things. So if you want to do one, you train for one. So if you want to do 2Com, you train for 2Com. If you then change your mind and you want to do SAS, you've got to change your entire training routine, the muscle groups you're working, your fatigue management system, like your fatigue management has to change. Like everything needs to change if you switch up between them. They're similar but different. Same but different. But as I said, you can do whatever you want. Do whatever you want, and I hope you succeed in whatever you do. That's my opinion as well, but it is hard to change someone's mind if they've decided on one thing. I hope it works out well for you. I'm not going to say that it's going to be easy. It's definitely not. But good luck to you, and I hope it works for you. What's the difference between first commando reg and second commando reg? 2Com is ARA, or regular army. And 1Do is commando reservists. Usually ex-commandos that want to break. go into 2Com. So go from 2Com to 1Com. I'll just focus on fitness and body strength versus body. So yeah, that's the one. SEAL Team 69. Mental aspect. Physical, no, it's definitely the physical. The physical side of 2Com is fucking ridiculous. The mental side of SAS, I believe, is harder. 2Com, as we've already discussed, is very, very physical, and SAS is more smarts and mental type stuff. Can't give the specifics, because I don't know the specifics. I'll just focus on fitness and upper body strength. Got it, and also do running and shit. Lots of fucking running and shit. So much running and shit. Too calm is so crazy. One time the training was they had to sleep for hours and they had to stay in the water with holding their guns above their heads. Yeah, too calm. I could never do it. It says it's a long range recon based in Perth and second close down and based in Sydney. But nowadays do very similar things. That is definitely correct. You said it better than I can. I'm getting tired and a little bit tipsy. So my speaking is going. Judo is advanced infantry and it's good to start at a battalion first before going for selection. I agree with that statement, but not everyone listens to that and they will go and do whatever the fuck they want. That happens a lot. But as I said, if you're going to do direct entry, good luck to you. I honestly give you good luck. I hope things go well for you. I've known people that have passed direct entry and then regretted it. Oh, but they were very, very young and they broke themselves way too soon. Not at all, really. No. Only thing cadets is good for is basic training. Just gives you a slight advantage when you're learning stuff. Apart from that, don't even mention it, to be honest. Yeah, as you already just said, cadets is really good for drill. Like, I did cadets, I wasn't a sergeant, I was a corporal. And I knew the drill before we did the drill, and I did the drill correctly before we did the drill, and yeah. As they just said, drill is the only good thing that you learn from cadets, because you can't take any of the shooting skills, you can't take any of the survival skills, you can't do anything like that. Just forget all that shit and just take on everything that they tell you, because they're there to help you, not hinder you, usually. Or streaming. What happened if you mess up drill, and is drill easy? Drill isn't easy. Oh. Drill is... If you go in there thinking that you know what you're doing, then it gets annoying and it actually hinders you, because you're sitting there like, oh, can we just hurry up, and then they'll go to the next thing and you'll fuck it up because you weren't paying attention. So the best thing to do is just go in there with an open mind and just listen to exactly what they say, because things are going to be different. There's going to be little subtle differences between cadets and actual army, so don't go into a drill session being like, oh, I already know this shit, I don't need to pay attention. Yeah, exactly. You just need to be responsive to learning. You need to want to be there. If you don't want to be there, just fuck off. But host you. Still got an account. I wouldn't say no to a host, man. I love a little extra help. Alright, but I am just about to end my streams though, because I am getting buggered and it's getting very yawny in this bitch. Today. Let me stream next. I'll see if I'm around. I'm pretty much on sleep. No worries, bro. Have a good sleep. I'm going to do very similar. Must be done as well. I am absolutely correct with a W. Correct. Alright, ending soon.